Okay, hi everyone, welcome back, and in this video I'm going to try at least to lay out my case for a potential major bull run in ICP, and we are going to break it down piece by piece, so by the end of this video you will have a clear view of why I believe this project could potentially seriously take off, maybe even soon. So whether you are already an investor or maybe just a crypto curious, stick around. I think this one might be worth your time. Now, first things first, we are going to talk about tokenomics, because that is where things start to get quite interesting, because as the chart shows, the number of ICP burn tokens has been just on a steady rise, and this is definitely an optimistic sign. And I know ICP has always had a lot of discussion around inflation, especially in the earlier days, but things are kind of starting to shift, and with the recent launch of Caffeine AI, we might be potentially entering an entirely new phase, one where we might see deflation rather than inflation. And that is right, I said it. It's called deflation. Why? You see, Caffeine AI could significantly increase usage across the network, and that means more transaction fees and also more cycles, and overall that would translate to more and more ICP burn tokens. If this is going to happen, it's very likely that we will start seeing a higher number of ICP tokens being burned, not just from cycles, but I think the dynamic might actually change a little bit, and at that point you may see also the number of ICP burn tokens as a result of transaction fees rising quite significantly. Why? Because okay, let's say you want to use Caffeine AI and design an app. In that app, you are providing a service that people need to pay for it. Okay, here's a question for you. What do you think people should pay you with? You guessed that right, ICP token. And that will once more result to more and more ICP burn tokens. This time may be more as a result of transaction fees. And that, my friends, could potentially be a huge shift in overall economics of the project if burn pressure increases, while supply growth either slows or maybe stays relatively the same. We are going to maybe even soon look at a deflationary trend, and that is something every long-term holder in the crypto space should be excited about. And again, the reason for why I'm saying maybe this is going to happen is because I honestly at the moment have a little bit of doubt about how the Caffeine AI stuff is going to play out. But based on what we are seeing, at least at the moment, I think we are going to see a massive success. And I do not believe that the road to get there is going to be absolutely smooth. No, in fact, I believe the road to Caffeine AI's full success is going to be quite bumpy, but overall it is going to be definitely a step towards the right direction. So in terms of tokenomics, I think the future in here definitely looks promising. Now, let's take a quick look at a chart called ICP.D, which is ICP dominance. Okay, here we are, and if you are wondering why we are checking ICP.D's chart, that's because unlike regular price charts, ICP dominance actually gives you a relatively cleaner picture with way less noise. It shows you how ICP is performing relative to the entire crypto market, which can sometimes reveal some patterns that the price alone really can't. And honestly, if you are looking for some real clues about momentum shifts and also upcoming moves, this might be where some of the hidden signals start to pop up. So what is happening here? You see, the last time that we talked about this chart, I think we were somewhere around these areas, and the idea was overall, on a higher degree, we are completing the subwaves for a beautiful looking ABC zigzag, and I swear to God I had it right in here. There we go. And in case of a zigzag, subwaves are going to be like this: 1 2 3 4 5 wave down into a correction for wave B, maybe ABC, maybe WXY, possibly even a triangle, and yet another impulse on the downside into our C leg. And this is kind of the key. Also, inside of our wave 1, 3, and 5, we need to be able to find 5 waves on the downside. Okay, if we see this structure with all the right subwaves, okay, around the lows is going to be a beautiful buy opportunity. Why? Because there's going to be a period of time where hopefully soon in ICP we are going to outperform the entire crypto market, and that will probably lead to some beautiful price appreciation. So the question is, where are we in that ABC zigzag? I think we might be at the end of it, and in this video I'm going to tell you there is actually a decent chance that maybe the ABC is complete. You see, the last time that we talked about ICP dominance, we were in here, and the idea was this is 5 wave down, potentially into a wave 1. But now I'm going to say our wave 1 actually ended right in here, followed by that a correction for wave 2, maybe another move down into wave 3 to about this point, correction for 4, and yet another move on the downside into wave 5. And since we are having in here overlapping of the waves, clearly this can be an ending diagonal in form of a wedge, and that is going to be into our wave 5, which on a higher degree it's going to be into this wave 5, and even on a higher degree, well, what do you know, we may have completed the sub waves for a beautiful looking ABC zigzag. And again, any kind of move up in this chart translates to ICP outperforming the whole crypto market. Okay, this is the key point to understand. Having said that, let's go on 15-minute charts and check out some real short-term structures. So here's the situation. I believe we can say maybe this is a wave 1, correction for wave 2, another move up into wave 3, correction for 4, and yet another move on the upside into wave 5. Also, starting from here, I do see the argument for a beautiful looking impulse on the upside, and I don't really believe that we need to argue this. This is definitely another 5 wave up, and in here, as you can see, we do kind of have like a very small overlapping of the waves, but I think we can definitely ignore that and call this whole move on the upside a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a great sign indicating the final low in ICP might be, and again, might be it. Now, here's a very important question. What happens after a 5 wave up, even if we are looking bullish and optimistic and the final low is then? You know the answer. We're going to have one way or the other a move down. And trust me, in this case, I'm not really contradicting myself, okay? In the short term, if you see a move down in ICP, do not get me wrong, that's just going to be part of the bullish process. I'm not going to be, because of that specific move, bearish at all, okay? But here's the deal. I think when we get that move down, you need to pay full attention to the shape of the move, because the move down itself is not really important. Honestly, it is kind of predictable. If we see a slow and choppy move down, and between our pullbacks up, we're just able to constantly identify overlapping of the waves, that's actually going to be a beautiful bullish sign, suggesting maybe on a higher degree, what do we have? You probably know it if you are a regular viewer of the main channel. 5 wave up into a wave 1, correction for wave 2, and what's next? Massive move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And in this phase up in the short term, you are going to see ICP performing really well, and I promise you that will probably put a beautiful smile on your face. So in terms of ICP dominance chart, I think we are definitely looking optimistic and great, and the fact that we are able to find a complete 5 wave from here to about this high is a great sign, indicating maybe the final low is in, and if we get the proper subwaves on the downside, that is going to be just a beautiful long opportunity. So far we checked out ICP tokenomics, which with the launch of Caffeine AI could be potentially headed to a deflationary trend. Number 2, we checked out ICP dominance chart, and this also looks good, suggesting maybe we are at the beginning of a magnificent bull run. And do we have some more important signs suggesting our bullish case? The answer is absolutely yes. And now it is time to talk about big players. If you remember, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, I dropped a video all about whale activities in ICP, and we talked about this specific tweet from ICP terminal that said, after nearly a year of stability, the number of addresses holding with more than 1 million ICP tokens has suddenly spiked, with 10 new wallets added just in this month alone. And we said this is definitely an optimistic sign, but we didn't really stop there. If you remember, we checked out CoinMarketCap and we actually did some calculation, and we said the average volume in each day in the last month, meaning in May, has been significantly higher than April. And this was really odd for two very important reasons. Number one, you cannot really attribute that increase in volume to the price. Why? Because as you can see, in May, the price has been clearly lower than April. Also, second reason, even in the month of May, this increase in volume didn't actually happen when the price were going up. No, it was just simply consistent increase in volume in every single day. And that to me suggests that right around the lows, where literally nobody was paying attention, whales were actually buying ICP big time. And now we do actually have some evidence. Where was it? I think it was this week. There we go. Now we know that whales with somewhere between 10 to 100k ICP actually during that period dropped sharply. But this is the key. Whales with more than 100,000 ICP tokens actually in that period ramped up their holdings. And that to me suggests that, okay, sure, there were some disagreements between whales. However, overall, every single ICP token that this group had to sell, there were absolutely a buyer for it. And do you honestly believe this isn't a bullish sign? If you think that, I would really like to disagree with you. So in terms of whale activities, it's definitely interesting to see an increase in the volume right around the recent lows, which were, if you remember, exactly before the WCS 2025 and the launch of the demo of Caffeine AI. So, you know, maybe some people back then knew something that we didn't. But again, nonetheless, overall, I'm gonna say in terms of whale activities, we are definitely on track for a beautiful bull run. Okay, so now that we have talked about ICP dominance, whale activities, and also ICP tokenomics potentially in the next year or two, now it's time to talk about ICP's chart, because if all the things are in the right direction, well, okay, it should basically show the effects on the live chart, right? Well, the answer is absolutely yes. So before we talk about what is happening specifically in the short term, let me tell you that in the midterm in ICP, I am 1000% bullish. Why is that? You see, if you want to say we are in the midterm in a beautiful uptrend and the final low is in right around this area, then okay, you need to be able to find off of the lowest low in here a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the upside, followed by that a slow and choppy move down timing wise. Now let's go on the live chart and see, do we have that or not? The answer is yes. Okay. What is happening in here? This point about, let's say $2.50 is the lowest low. And off of it, this is a beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up into a wave 1, correction for wave 2, probably an ABC, a strong move on the upside into wave 3. This time, I think this is like a WXY into wave 4, followed by another clear cut 5 wave up into wave 5. And then probably starting from this high, maybe even all the way down to the recent low right in here, about $4.2. We are having a correction structure, and I do believe overall this is a correction. It's just the fact that at the moment we can have doubts about whether the final low in ICP is in or not, and that is not going to be a bearish sign at all. Okay, let me just say that right out of the bat. That's just a healthy amount of skepticism, which is definitely necessary in this market. Now, in terms of overall structures, let me tell you why I believe this is a correction. Let's just measure our move down starting from here. Let's just say even from this point, the highest high. Okay, how long is it taking for us to have this move? About 400 candlesticks. On the other hand, this move up happened only in about 150 candlesticks. So this to me suggests, despite having way more than enough time, almost 3 times more, bears in this phase down absolutely failed to pull the price all the way back down to these levels. And well, this suggests in this whole move down during this time, most likely bulls are still quite powerful and they are going to take charge soon and just send the price up, because on a higher degree, I am really hoping that we're gonna have 5 wave up into a wave 1, correction for wave 2, and what's next? An unbelievably beautiful move on the upside into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And here's the thing, in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, usually wave 3 is quite a strong and sharp move on the upside. So if this scenario is happening, I think in ICP, exciting times are definitely ahead. And this is going to be much more big of a move than this one right in here, starting from the $2.50 low to all the way up here about, let's say, the $20 area. Now, question is, what can be a likely target for these waves? Well, at the moment, we really cannot say anything for sure, but if wave 3 is actually going to be bigger than wave 5 and stronger, which I do believe that it is going to be, okay, I think just in this wave, we can get to somewhere around $40. and then correction for 4, followed by that another move up into wave 5. And in this move up, I don't know, maybe like a $60-$70 ICP is not really going to be that unrealistic, meaning from these areas about the $5 region, we can expect like a 12 to even 1300% gain. And again, you want to remember, this isn't really that much of an unreasonable target. No, I'm not trying to be a moon boy in here in order to get views and likes. I'm just telling you what I think, and I believe a $50, $60, $70 ICP is kind of feasible. So in terms of overall structures, all the signs that we talked about earlier in the video are absolutely backed by the beautiful setups in terms of Elliott waves that we are having in here. Question is, what is going on in the short term, and can we argue that we have hit our final low? If you remember the last time that we talked about ICP, I think we were right around these areas, and the idea was that this can be a correction down starting from here to about this point. And I'm really hoping, since we are having like very short term 1 2 3 4 5 wave up followed by a correction down, we get a strong move on the upside. And the moment that in that move we manage to take this important high about $5.50, that could be a beautiful bullish sign suggesting our move up is going to continue, and hopefully the final low in ICP is in. Now if the final bottom is truly in, then okay, I think the best scenario that we can consider in here is a series of 1-2s, meaning this can be from here to about this point, 5 up into 1, followed by a correction for wave 2, and the current move up is going to be a big wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, and at that point, believe it or not, our move up overall is not really going to be over. Why? Because this yellow 5 wave up at that point is going to be into a larger degree wave 3, and then we're going to have correction for 4, and even after another move on the upside into wave 5. So if the scenario in ICP is happening, and if we are truly bullish, I need this move up to accelerate in the short term soon. And here is the key. Every single analyst at any given moment should be able to come up with a bullish and also a bearish possibility at the same time. And what I'm about to tell you is in the interest of being 100% objective, because again, I do not want to be an absolute moon boy. No, I want to be objective and give you my analysis, whether it's going to be bullish or maybe even bearish. You see, the bearish can suggest that maybe we are having from here ABC up into wave W, correction for wave X, and this is another ABC zigzag on the upside into our wave Y. Now, let me be very clear. This isn't right now my primary case, okay? When will it kind of get confirmed? I'm gonna say when we get a move down, and in that move, we take this important low down here about, let's say, $4.4. Do I think this is going to happen? No, most likely not. I'm kind of a fan of continuing this move on the upside, and here is yet another important reason to believe this is going to continue. What do we have in terms of classic patterns? I'm not really sure if you're a big fan of them, but if you are, you cannot really deny this beautiful head and shoulder structure. And if you want to say this pattern is happening, you need to see a break of the neckline right in here, followed by that a pullback, and then a continuation of the move up. So for the next couple of days in ICP, I would really love it if we see kind of a slow and choppy move down, basically a consolidation above this line, and then we gather the power for yet another move on the upside. And in this phase, I think the bare minimum target can be somewhere around the $7 region. If you want to go according to this head and shoulder, okay, first things first, you need to put your chart on regular scale, okay? There is no such thing as measuring waves on logarithmic. I'm going to keep saying this in every single video, and then you need to measure the height of your pattern from here to about the lows and put this thing at your breaking point. As you can see, this is giving you in the short term at least about an $8.2 ICP. Do not get me wrong, I think we can absolutely get there, but let's just get to $7 first so I can get out of my long position that I opened way back down around these areas, and then at that point we will make new updates and see where are we going to go from there. So let's just wrap this up real quick. We have gone through a lot. We talked about tokenomics, we looked at ICP.D, we analyzed whale activities, and even touched on Elliott wave patterns and what is going on in the mid and also short term. And when you talk about all these pieces, and put them all together, the story that they are telling is kind of pretty compelling. Everything at the moment at least seems to be lining up for a potentially massive bull run in ICP, and we are talking about the kind of move that could potentially push the price up, like we said it earlier, 12 to even 1300%. And no, that is not just blind hype. It's a projection based on real data, real signals, and also repeatable market patterns we have seen many times before. Now, does that mean that the bull run is going to start today? How about tomorrow? How about next week? How about even next month? The truth is nobody knows, okay? Not me, not you, not anybody else on YouTube or anywhere else. Nobody knows. No one can predict altcoin season and time it perfectly. But what we can say kind of is this: when it does start, ICP, in my opinion at least, will very likely be a part of it. And if you are already watching this video, I'm really hoping that you are going to be ahead of the crowd. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in internet computer. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.